Welcome back to another edition of Very Special Episodes, the YouTube series where we highlight the moments in animated TV shows that hit a little harder than usual. Episodes that pause the action or the laughs to shine a spotlight on real issues, personal growth, or heartfelt themes. Today we're diving into part 19, and trust me, this one's packed with heavy topics, from drug addiction and grief to trauma and friendship. Whether you grew up on classic Saturday morning cartoons or found your favorites a little later in life, these are the episodes that stuck with us for more than just nostalgia. So let's run it back, starting with an episode that gave Sonic more than just speed to deal with.
He's the fastest thing alive. He's the fastest thing alive.
Sonic the Hedgehog SatAM Ultrasonic. Ultrasonic is an early standout from the darker and more mature Sonic the Hedgehog animated series, commonly referred to as SatAM by fans. Unlike its more comedic counterparts, this series leaned heavily into dystopian storytelling and themes of rebellion. In this episode, Sonic is reunited with his long-lost Uncle Chuck, who was roboticized by Dr. Robotnik and turned into one of his emotionless enforcers. But there's a twist. Uncle Chuck starts to show signs of his old personality returning, giving Sonic a small but powerful glimmer of hope. What makes this episode so emotional isn't just a family reunion. It's the heartbreak of watching someone you love slip away. Chuck briefly regains his free will, but it's fleeting. The moment when he tells Sonic to escape, knowing he can't join him, is deeply moving. It explores the pain of watching a loved one be consumed by something larger than themselves, something they can't control. For kids, it might reflect the confusing emotions tied to illness or mental changes in someone they care about. And for adults revisiting the show, it's a clear metaphor for watching a loved one battle addiction, dementia, or trauma. Ultrasonic taught us that sometimes even small moments of connection can mean everything. The Littles, Prescription for Disaster. The 1980s cartoon The Littles usually revolved around the adventures of tiny people living in the walls of homes, avoiding danger and helping humans in secret. But Prescription for Disaster took a dramatic turn. When the Littles visit relatives, they encounter a young girl named Angela, whose mother is struggling with drug addiction. It's a surprisingly dark and mature topic for a show aimed at children, but the writers handle it with a delicate, meaningful touch. The episode features one of the most intense sequences in any kid's cartoon from the time. Dinky accidentally ingests the mother's pills, begins hallucinating, while Angela, feeling hopeless and neglected, contemplates taking pills herself. The stakes are high, but what grounds this episode emotionally is its honesty. Angela's pain is raw and relatable. She wants her mom back. The Littles help stop her from following in her mother's footsteps. And the moment when the mother wakes up and sees how close she came to losing her child is sobering. This episode did what many 80s cartoons tried, but rarely succeeded at. It presented addiction as not just a personal flaw, but a family disease. It showed that recovery has to start with realizing who you're hurting the most.
Hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you could learn to work and play and get along with each other.
Arthur. When Carl Met George. PBS's Arthur has always been one of the best examples of children's television tackling real-world issues. When Carl Met George is no exception. This episode introduces Carl, a new character who has Asperger's syndrome, part of the autism spectrum. George, one of Arthur's quieter friends, wants to befriend Carl, but struggles to understand his behaviors, which include avoiding eye contact, being sensitive to noise, and needing structure. Rather than simplify or caricature Carl, the episode presents him with nuance and care. George learns that being different doesn't mean being lesser. There's a fantastic scene where Carl shows George how he sees the world through his love of art and trains, helping George and viewers understand autism from a more empathetic point of view. For many children, this might have been their first time hearing about autism. And for autistic kids watching, it was powerful representation. It's not a flashy episode, but it's one of the most important Arthur ever aired. And in a world that often doesn't explain neurodiversity to young audiences, this one stands out as quietly revolutionary. Batman the Animated Series, Over the Edge. Over the Edge is arguably one of the most intense episodes ever to come out of Batman the Animated Series. It opens with Commissioner Gordon hunting Batman down, and we soon find out why. Batgirl is dead. What follows is a brutal fallout where Gordon discovers his daughter Barbara was Batgirl all along, and he blames Bruce Wayne for her death. Wayne Manor is raided, and everything falls apart. It's revealed by the end that this was all a hallucination, a nightmare Batgirl had after being injured on a mission. But what makes this episode resonate as a very special episode is how deeply it explores consequence, fear, and grief. Barbara's subconscious fears about what her death would do to her family aren't just about guilt. They're about how fragile the entire system is. This episode isn't about crime fighting or good versus evil. It's about what's left behind when secrets come to light and tragedy strikes. For a generation of fans, Over the Edge was the moment Batman stopped being a cartoon and became something emotionally profound. She-Ra, my enemy, my friend, in one of the wildest emotional curveballs in the She-Ra Princess of Power series. It starts with Katra happily feeding Hordak a poison pie, baked by none other than Skeletor, who hopes to make Hordak vanish so he can seize control of the Horde. The chaos kicks in immediately. Hordak gets sick, starts fading from existence thanks to Doomberries, and ends up needing a magical cure that involves someone crying for him. You'd think no one on Etheria would shed a tear for Hordak, but She-Ra, true to form, decides to try anyway. Her journey to help him leads to a wizard named Noah, who bluntly refuses to cry over a tyrant, forcing She-Ra herself to do it out of sheer pity. This bizarre episode wraps layers of slapstick, villain betrayal, and heart into a surprisingly meaningful lesson about empathy. Skeletor's schemes unravel. Katra is left abandoned, and She-Ra's tears, not strength or swords, end up saving the day. Even though Hordak is the series' main antagonist, She-Ra's willingness to help him reminds viewers that compassion isn't about who deserves it. It's about who needs it. It's weird, it's funny, and it's oddly touching. Leave it to She-Ra to turn crying over a poison villain into a very special episode about choosing mercy over revenge. Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, Catch a Falling Star. In a rare blend of psychological drama and superhero action, Catch a Falling Star tells the story of Jennifer Nocturne, a former teen idol who helps the disgraced Carl Nesmith, once the heroic Captain Nemesis, escape from prison. As Jennifer changes her appearance and follows Nesmith across the country, we learn about her troubled past, a childhood lost to fame, an absent father, and a neglectful mother. Gwen and Ben investigate her disappearance, slowly uncovering how far Jennifer has fallen into delusion and emotional dependence. The episode explores themes like manipulation, abandonment, and Stockholm Syndrome, with surprising depth for a series aimed at younger audiences. By the time Jennifer dons the Captain Nemesis mech suit and battles Ben, it's clear she's completely lost her sense of self. Even after being injured, she clings to Nesmith as the only anchor in her life. Gwen ultimately disables the suit and urges medical help for Jennifer, while Nesmith accepts a return to prison. It's a heavy, unsettling episode that illustrates how unaddressed trauma and manipulation can destroy a person's identity. Catch a Falling Star stands as one of Ben 10's most emotionally disturbing episodes, and a cautionary tale about fame, neglect, and the danger of confusing control for love.
But I believe Aang can save the world.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Tales of Ba Sing Se. One of the most beloved anthology episodes in cartoon history, The Tales of Ba Sing Se breaks away from the overarching plot of Avatar to focus on quiet, personal moments with each main character. There's Sokka trying slam poetry, Katara and Toph having a spa day, and Momo searching for Appa. But the story that defines this episode and makes it truly special is the tale of Iroh. In this short segment, Iroh helps a series of strangers throughout his day, comforting a crying child, aiding a mugger, and honoring his late son, Lu Ten. The final moments show him alone on a hillside, lighting incense, singing a lullaby through tears. The episode ends with a dedication to Iroh's voice actor, Mako, who had passed away in real life. It's one of the most moving moments in animation history. Without action or spectacle, it teaches viewers about grief, kindness, and remembrance. Iroh's quiet strength becomes a lesson in healing, for himself and for us. ThunderCats. Snarf takes up the challenge. Snarf, often seen as the comic relief in ThunderCats, finally gets his moment to shine. After the rest of the team is incapacitated by Mum-Ra's latest scheme, it's up to Snarf to step up and rescue his friends. While not heavy in the traditional sense, this episode sends a strong message about underestimation and self-worth. For younger viewers who related to feeling too small or powerless, Snarf's bravery was empowering. He's usually mocked or babied, but here he proves he's just as capable of being a hero. The episode reminds us that courage doesn't come from size or strength. It comes from heart. It's a very special message about believing in yourself, even when no one else does. Gravity Falls, Blendin's game. Gravity Falls often blends humor and heart, and Blendin's game is a perfect example. The episode explores Sousa's past, especially his 12th birthday, when his father failed to show up after promising he would. It's framed around a time-traveling plot, but at its core, it's about abandonment and the wounds left by an absent parent. We see young Seuss waiting all day for a phone call that never comes. It's heartbreaking. When the truth is revealed to his friends, they rally to make his birthday special, proving that found family can be just as important, if not more so, than blood relatives. The episode's strength lies in how it balances absurd time antics with raw emotional truth. Seuss's pain is real, and his ability to forgive and find joy in his life anyway is deeply inspiring. The Wild Thornberrys, Forget Me Not. Finally, Forget Me Not from the Wild Thornberrys is a poignant story about loss and remembrance. Eliza wants to find Rebecca, the elephant her father saved 20 years ago. When she finally does, Rebecca is old and dying. The emotional core of the episode is Eliza bonding with Rebecca in her final moments and being there as she peacefully passes away. This episode stands out in children's TV for how directly it addresses death. There's no sugarcoating it. Rebecca dies and Eliza grieves. But there's also peace in the way Rebecca's daughter Zeta takes over the herd. It's a quiet meditation on the cycle of life and the importance of memory. For any kid who ever lost a pet or a loved one, this episode hit hard. But it also offered comfort. Death is a part of life, and love never really goes away. These 10 episodes remind us that cartoons have always been more than colorful distractions. They're often our first teachers about grief, resilience, empathy, and doing the right thing when it's hard. Whether it was Sonic seeing a loved one trapped or Eliza saying goodbye to a friend, these moments shaped how we think and feel. A huge shout out and heartfelt thank you to our amazing Throwback Tier members, Peace by Chaos, Thecula, iCritic, Jeremy Bowen, Mr. Blanks, and Sonic and Leighton Fan. Your support means the world, and you're helping keep the nostalgia alive in a big way. I also want to thank all the other awesome members who support the channel. Whether you're new or you've been rocking with us from the beginning, I appreciate every single one of you. If you've made it this far, let me know in the comments which of these episodes hit you hardest, or share your own pick for a very special episode that we should cover in the future. And if you're enjoying this series, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a trip back into the animated moments that made us who we are. Until next time, keep the nostalgia alive.